Alright, welcome back. We are getting into the first game of this brand new best of 7. It's going to be Zero versus Jon Snow.
And of course, we know Jon Snow from many of the exploits on Base Trade TV, so we've got pretty high hopes for him to lead this series early for his team here in the CSL. But yeah, the fact of the matter is, it is a best of 5, or best of 7, not a best of 5 anymore, as we are in the playoff series.
And in the top left, as the Red Zerg playing for RPI, it is Jon Snow.
And of course, I just misspoke as a playoff. I don't actually know if they categorize round of 8 as the playoffs or not, but that's where we're at, the round of 8 specifically. Spawning the bottom right side, it's going to be the Teal Protoss 0.
Playing for UTA. And they do. The whole overlay is like playoff.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so again, we don't have the stats to fancy you all with, like, their team is 6-1 with Archon scores of blah blah, so I couldn't tell you who's favored to win. We just saw NYU take down Waterloo 4-2, which was really good for them. We'll see if Jon Snow is someone that can bring his team to victory, or if it's going to be similar to a lot of other teams that we've seen, where, okay, they have this one really great player, but because it's best of 5 in the preseason and then now in the playoffs, best of 7, it doesn't matter if he can win 1 or 2 games. They still have to win 1 or 2 other ones. 3 or 2 other ones, rather. Math.
Yeah. Of course, we've talked about this, right? There's a lot of a lot of really good players in the CSL that come from more than just, you know, background studies and all this. Like, Jon Snow is a competitive player. Intense, Xenocider, just to quote some others, like, are competitive players. But we've also seen a lot of these guys lose, and especially in the preseason when it was like the Archon mode matches. So, I mean, I am coming into this with everything saying Jon Snow's going to take this first game, but it's actually possible that he doesn't. We've seen some less than amazing play out of him for certain, but he's been looking good lately. Of course, Fear Dragon's been all about Jon Snow for the last while, so we've been seeing him through Ladder Heroes and other events.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he really likes Jon Snow's playstyle. But I think now as the playoffs, we'll certainly see him on his A game, where in the preseason, ours Archon mode matches, it was just, I mean, some of them were being, like, dragged down by their partner, or some of them just didn't seem to care as much. But now they're playing for scholarship money, and they're really close to getting it, too. So everyone best be on their A game. I think Jon Snow will want to go to DreamHack Austin anyway, too. Maybe
just to compete in the open bracket or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's probably going to go no matter what, but maybe this will be even nicer for him if he gets the ride thanks to CSL, as opposed to his team flip side having to pay his way. Looks like I have to deal with a couple of Adepts, no big deal, pretty standard in ZVP, and Oracle's on the backside though, and Jon Snow, hey, wait a minute, he doesn't have a third base, that's just a Roachhorn.
Well, this might hit hard and early. We have seen a fair amount of all-ins out of Zerg players on Lyrlac.
Oh yeah, sure we have. Now usually those are Ling based entirely, they're Ling drops, they're Ling busts, hell, even a couple of Baneling busts. But the old-fashioned Roach Ling all-in is still powerful, and you can include a couple of Ravagers as well to start breaking down the wall. Sure, they have one, but one of the reasons Lyrlac Crest is so good for those all-ins is that it's kind of hard to wall off. You know, it's kind of far away from your Nexus, so it takes a while to get over there. It's a fairly long, wide wall-off as well, and back in the day they didn't have these rocks broken down. But things are already getting started with Lings on top of a very important pylon. The Oracle can help out just the tiniest bit against the Lings, and very tiny amount versus the Roaches, but I guess that's where the Queens are coming on over here. They do leave the base defenseless, so that's where this Oracle, the first Oracle, gets a lot of damage done.
I was gonna say, this actually, like, this sets up a really nice all-in, but Jon Snow gives away so many workers in the process. Like, this is kind of insane. Like, like this is turned from a kind of all-in to an absolute all-in. And I feel like this one Void Ray could potentially hold the game. And if that's the case, we're gonna see a rather large upset with Zero taking a victory to kick off for his team. Jeez.
It's a good thing you set this up with talks about how sometimes these professional gamers can really not only let us down, you know, like, we're just disappointed in you, son, but
I mean, it's not letting us down like, son, I'm disappointed, but it's more just letting it down and surprised to see such a player fall to something so just I
Well.
hate to say it, basic.
Not that I want to make Jon Snow feel any worse, but I'm sure his team was really hoping he'd start them off strong. You know, a
Right, like here's the
guaranteed
GM
game.
player, he's a WCS player, easy win, easy life, but you know, the Oracles are a little bit out of juice. The Void Ray actually can't take on the 2 Queens, but they're so far away from the fight.
All I need to do is warp in 2 Adepts, and his gateways are still going.
Or Zealots even. One single Zealot would actually take care of these Queens pretty well with the Void Ray.
This is Zero's game. Okay,
It
so
should be.
It's
It should
gonna
be.
be 15 workers, almost 16 workers to 8. I guess. I mean, oddly enough.
Kills the Queen!
Zero, you need to warp in something. There you go.
Okay, 2 Zealots will easily deal with 2 Queens. They do have transfuses, so the Void Ray needs to
Yeah.
get over here. So do the Oracles, but I mean, this was everything for Jon Snow. Let's not forget that once this is said and done, he can still go counterattack with those
Yeah.
Oracles. There's only 1 Queen on the other side of the map, so he cleans this up. He holds position. Maybe has some. No, he should be able to hold this. The Void Ray alone.
Yeah, this is very surprising. Jon Snow is going to try and bring it back from 8 workers. He's starting to get some up now, and even tries to get a drone. I think he realizes that there's no purpose in taking both hatchery mineral lines with only 9 workers, so he goes to the safety of the single spore crawler, at least playing it smart now that he's a little desperate. Or Zero with enough minerals to both produce a couple of units as well as produce more probes is looking a lot better. 2 Oracles can either ignore the Spore Crawler or try and catch the Queen, or hell, even start wasting energy on killing a hatchery, but they're never going to be useless. Okay, unless they just do that. That was a little bad.
So is it
That was really
Zero
bad.
something for Arlington, was it?
Zero is playing for, yes, UTA.
UTA just sounds like Utah to me.
You taught it? Oh, I was going to say like a UTI, which is not comfortable.
No, I wouldn't want one of those at all. But the Oracles are a little bit shy on energy, but they do come here to kill. They could just focus down the Queen. They really don't even need to fight the sniper drones. But while this goes on, the Mothership Core is ready to go on the other side of the map. Ling's darting around desperately to find something to do. But man, I'll tell you something. Jon Snow, well, this was a terrible opening for him. He is also one of the few players who has the capability to possibly bring this back. But make no mistake, I mean, he's still on 16 workers. He's behind in every way that you could be behind in this matchup.
Zero might be experiencing some adrenaline rushes right now. I mean, first of all, you just held off an all-in, which is going to give you a little bit to begin with. But then second of all, you know, he might have gone into this thinking like, okay, I'm like, this is going to be a tough one. I don't think I'm going to win. I don't know. Maybe he's actually really confident in himself. But if this was me, and I think I'm about to win against someone I think is way better than me, like a professional player, Jon Snow, I'd be like, just like making mistakes left and right, throwing away my lead because I'm so nervous.
Yeah, I just make goofs when I get cocky, period. Like,
Yeah.
we were doing this in team games the other night, right? Like, we thought we were ahead, so you started screwing around, I started going mass Widowmines, and we lost the game because of it. Like,
Yeah, that can certainly happen, and I mean, it's like little things here and there, you know, like the Photon overcharge that was way excessive for 4 Lings at the front, the committal to Oracles, because originally they were doing a really good job, but now they're kind of being, you know, defended against. Just, you know, making a little bit of mistake here and there to really end out the game.
3 Oracles could actually dive on top of that Spore Crawler
Yes,
and
they
kill
could.
it.
Yeah, there you go. No, there you
No,
go. Come on. All
that's
right.
just accidental targeting. He was going for the drones.
Yeah.
A little bit tunnel vision on trying to maintain this lead, and this is where it gets a little concerning. He does start coming across the map, though, with some real units now. The Oracles, unfortunately, already burned a lot of energy, so they're not going to have that much support for the fight. He did remember to turn off the guns, though, so he's going to have a little bit out of some of these. But we cast a player named Goblin, amateur player on the European ladder. He went just mass Oracles intentionally. Now, that's not quite what's happened here, but there are about, 5 Oracles in play? Excuse me, 4 Oracles. I mean, they can take down Queens damn quick, as we can see, but they don't protect the rest of the army. The Lings gets right on the top of the Adepts. The Zealot goes down, and this attack kind of falls flat on its face.
Well, more Adepts are here. The Void Ray's brought over, and there was, in fact,
Oh, is that his use? He turned it
Warp
on and
Prism.
turned it off. He turned the guns
Oh.
on and then off again, so he's got no energy on most of these Oracles now. As
Well,
it does
this is
take
still-
25 to activate.
This is still a situation where if this attack fails, he's in a much better position. His army supply is up, his supply is up, and it's 2 base versus 2 base in his EVP. That's not where Zerg wants to be. He's still getting better units. He has the minerals to get a third. Needs to kind of warp in right here. That's not too much bad of a problem. Like, Zero should still win, but he is certainly making those mistakes that might be from the jitters he's getting, like, oh my god, I'm about to win.
Yeah, well, we'll see if he can hold it together. That Void Ray could just systematically align, pop that energy. There you go, and focus down the hatchery. Queens, of course, are going to try and shoot what they can, where they can. The Adept shoot too bad. A Time Warp is questionable?
Yeah.
And the Oracle, as we saw, are out of juice, so they've got no contribution to bring to this fight whatsoever. As the Mothership core goes down, mistakes are certainly being made, and the victory from Zero is being snatched out right from underneath his fingers.
Well, maybe. He was targeting the hatchery, decided not to. That was a big mistake, and then he could have recalled afterwards too, but then lost the mothership.
Let's not forget, too, the income for this, despite having more workers, is actually going to start evening out. In fact, favoring Jon Snow slightly as mineral patches start disappearing. Zero having all these extra workers isn't necessarily going to be beneficial without a third.
Well, that's what he's getting right now. He was banking quite a few minerals. More Lings running across the map trying to take advantage of the lack of ground units, and they certainly are. Can Jon Snow really do this? He's starting to cut down those workers.
Is the comeback real? It's 28 workers to 40, so it's still not looking too bad for Zero, but I mean, everything that makes sense in this game has been out the window since Jon Snow started losing to Oracles.
Yeah. I guess you're going to reports that Zero isn't really that bad himself. You know, he's GM and he's pretty good, but it's still the name which definitely weigh within everyone watching's mind. But watching minds. That was an odd English sentence. But especially for, I guess, these high-stakes playoffs, regardless if you know you have the talent and the skill to actually get the win, is something different.
All right, I think this has finally got that point of being out of hand. There's not 30 Lings anymore like there used to be. Nothing surrounding, really. The Oracles are actually contributing this time, and Jones got pulled. That's desperate. That's super desperate.
Yeah, I think that's it. Now tripling the supply of Jon Snow just about. Queen's finally going down, and the Spore Crawler's looking a little bit... no. They're not supposed to be helping. Oracles, go away.
Spore Crawlers have actually been surprisingly helpful for a lot of this.
Oh, they certainly have, but I thought that Zero had realized just not to bring anything close to him anymore. GG!
GG. Jon Snow gonna take the fall, and Zero will take a victory in so many more ways than one.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, that is a very nice start for Arlington, and now it is going to go into the second 1v1, which is going to be Hawk versus Joe Bama. I remember that name. Another ZVP, by the way. What map is it on? Ground Terraces.
Interesting to see that play out the way it did. I mean, the funny thing is, of course, Terran players all know the burden of losing your workers to an Oracle, but Zerg certainly don't. Not unless you pull for that all in does it ever go that way. Like, if Jon Snow had just gone for the attack without pulling the Queens, it may have been a little bit... It may have actually played out the exact same way, just he wouldn't have lost workers at home, because those Queens actually didn't get involved until the game was pretty much over.
Yeah, they were... Just
thinking on it.
They felt pretty useless. Certainly he would have still lost workers, but not all of them, or almost all of them. Excuse me. Okay, everyone's in the lobby but you.
Oh, sorry. I always forget to look at the real ID.
Yeah. It's going to be... I always forget that this guy has Vile in his name, so I don't know if he's just a very old StarCraft player and used to be on Vile, or he's just a fan. Or maybe it's the description of his hawk.
I got a hawk. It's not very nice. It's kind of borderline evil. I wouldn't quite call it full evil, though. Just a little bit vile.
But the question is it a Mohawk hawk, or like a...
Oh, what if this is a misspelling of vile, actually?
Oh, like a vial?
Like, this is actually a measurement of his hawk. Like,
a vial isn't a measurement.
Well, I mean,
I'll have 5 vials of that. Well, I guess you could say that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
I'll have 5 vials of potato.
Crunk! Get the vial!
Why no one want to say ready, you know? What's up with that? This guy looks silly.
Whenever they do say ready. Vialhawk's ready. Come on, Jubama. There we go.
Alright, let's do it. Let's do it. In game.
All right, so gold-based map. We get a Zerg and a Protoss. I think we know how this tends to play out. But again, like, even though there's like this just innate favoritism that goes towards a Zerg player on a map like this, I still feel like we've seen a few Protoss players really pull out their own versions of Gateway all-ins and make this map work for them.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what he's capable of, as we do have in the bottom left, sorry, excuse me, bottom right side of Prey on Terraces, none other than Jobama.
In the top left, as the pink Zerg, it is Vilehawk being quite vile. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, early pool shenanigans.
Does the overlay bother you, Rifkin, by the way?
Why?
You should look at it. It's all nice and lined up, trust me.
I'm not going to be able to see it for like 3 minutes, man. What are you talking about?
You can watch it right now, the delay.
Hmm?
Isn't it still in game on the
Oh, it's out of game.
Oh. 3 minutes isn't what it used to be.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so
I guess it's off slightly. Is that what you're trying to let me know?
last time you were bothered by it, you made me know.
No, sorry. I'm just professional.
I almost watched rocks for a second. Okay, so odd stuff coming down here for Vilehawk, by the way. So he goes for an early pool, but then goes for a couple of drones and then some lings. Like, and by some lings I mean literally 2. Doesn't even use all of his larva for it. What type of early pool was that?
I thought this may have actually been with the intended intention of getting across the map to get the natural, but I mean, it's not like that he scouted this to see it not coming, but it may have been that he got scouted and decided not to follow through with it.
Yeah, I guess so. It's still pretty odd now to see at least 6 to 8 lings being made and then the macro out of it, but I suppose it's just a couple of more drones. There is a wall off, by the way, so that's might have been another blessing not to go for the attack. However, it's still pretty bad to go for an early pool and then not actually get anything from it and just try and macro out of it. It doesn't put him up very well. But Obama, also with not the base economy, only just now putting down his Nexus, will be looking for some aggression with double Adepts. I would have said that this one might have been for the hatchery timing, because we've seen in ZVZ some 14, 13 hatches or around there on Preon Terraces specifically, but you know, obviously he went for the pool, so that wasn't the deal. And now going for a Roach Warren. Very early. I gotta imagine this is because he saw the Adept coming out, but Roaches are pretty expensive at this point. Just defending with Queens and slow lings and maybe a couple of drone pulls could have been better, would have been better. It's a very funky game. They both did funky things. It's Funky Town. I'm not gonna start singing.
Take me to
nope.
Funky Town.
I'm gonna say I'm not gonna join in on that.
I could actually probably dance that pretty well in that suit I got coming.
Oh god, yeah, you could. Okay, and I was gonna say maybe he's gonna use this for an attack again, but he drones again. It makes me feel very foolish. Yeah, right. Well, the Adepts don't attack either, and this is just a game of I'm gonna attack you. No, wait, no, I'm not. Now I'm gonna attack. No, actually, I don't want to. Who will be the first to actually commit to an attack? Come back later for more. CSL.
All right, it's like we're gonna like, you know when they do like the technical difficulties. Like I feel like we could put one of those signs up, come back, it'll be like a normal game 10 minutes from now, depending.
Yeah, just ignore that all this beginning stuff happened.
Well, it's so interesting to me because this did start with an early pull. Like we expected this to get raunchy right off the bat. A couple of Adepts do get up here to scout, but really they're not doing too much.
Raunchy, yeah, okay. Yeah, the Adepts don't do very much, but as you said, they got at least a little bit of a scouts. Now, what's important is that there still isn't a third base, which just goes down right now, and certainly this will be protected. You know, now Vilehawk does have the option of going for Roaches, which you would have wanted to get later in the mid-game, like right now anyway, as well as getting that speed. But Jobama, despite having an interesting opener with the wall off at the front, I think looks more normal with his Nexus, getting fully saturated, and 3 gateways, resonant glaives. This is all stuff you would expect from a Protoss at around the time you'd expect for a Protoss to get. And the resonant glaives will be for an attack once that's done with a very nice amount of adepts. The question will be whether Vilehawk has enough roaches, or roaches in the right position to deal with it. If it's a Mortal Adept all-in, I guess that's interesting too, and something we haven't seen since the beginning of Legacy of the Void. Mostly because Ravagers still did so well against it, it fell out of style. But like any all-in, if it's unscouted, it can do very well. Oh, macro hatchery. It's a bit early for one, but certainly when that's done, he'll have a lot of larvae to work with. I think I'm over here to start larva injecting. There we go. Speed finishing up, and worker counts, okay. They're okay, I guess, for Vilehawk. Joe Obama has stopped spanking drone probes, by the way, so I think he is going to go with that attack.
I would actually say the worker counts are better than okay, because one of the big things to consider is you need less workers for these gold bases for them to be so fully saturated. So on 3 bases, normally you'd be looking towards 55 to 60 workers. 46 is like very close to that sweet spot.
Yeah. There's the attack of the Adepts, and the 3rd base behind it, so a bit of offense and macro. There's the pro production starting back up as well. So no 2 base all in. And not even really committing with the Adepts either. I'm gonna wait for that Warp Prism. Now the Overlord of Vilehawk, does it see this? No, it does not. This would be where just 26 Lings would be really good, getting us around on that and canceling it at least once. Not gonna happen now that it's about halfway done and a pylon's already there. But a lot of roaches are on the way. They're getting +1, they're getting speed, and while this game started off funky, it certainly looks normal now. Gotta give kudos to Vilehawk's creep spread as well, which is already starting to get to the middle of the map, and covering his 3rd as well, which I really do appreciate seeing that. Continuing to creep spread, there you go.
I like, by the way, if you guys were to ever give Zombie Grub like a gift or something in real life, like her answer wouldn't be "I appreciate that" or "thank you." She'd just be like, "Okay." But like in Starcraft, she's like, "Oh, I appreciate the creep spread." Like, thank God player did blank and X and Y.
Excuse you, I always say thank you when I receive a gift. I've never ever heard anyone say I appreciate this when they receive a gift.
Sorry, my point of this was, it just seems like we get more praise for players in Starcraft than you in real life, just period.
Well, that's probably true.
Yeah, I mean, like if a guy can micro, well, I mean, damn, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Vilehawk's still dancing in the middle of the map with a lot of Ravagers. If you wanted to get aggressive and poke, there really isn't a lot of consequence for this. I also want to note we have an Overlord transforming to transport mode. We kind of interesting to see.
Dear
Predicting
God.
the retreat, though. That was a pretty sick. At first, those corrosive valves looked like they missed. I'm like, what is he doing? But the army retreating right into them fell right into the trap. And now with 94 army supply up over 49, Joe Obama's got a couple of Immortals, couple of overcharges, sure, but that is a hell of a lot of roaches. With 9 more on the way and was probably just going to be constant reinforcements as Vilehawk sets up a 4th base. He is looking so sweet here in this game.
Vilehawk did lose 12 drones to those Adepts, I believe, so cut him down a little bit, but still at 50 is pretty healthy.
Yeah.
So he's looking fine. Joe Obama, like his army before he got hit by those corrosive biles was pretty perfect for Vilehawk's army, both in composition as well as size. Now its composition is still fine, obviously, but size was a bit of an issue.
Hey.
The amount of Blink Stalkers in here is kind of like, it looks a little bit funky too, but Blink Stalkers are still very good units all around. Warp Prism's going to look to buy time or just straight up do damage. We have a Spire transition on the way, which I think if Joe Obama really wants to make his life a little easier, he could just target that down. Does not really pay attention, however.
No.
Oh, there we go. Let's see if that actually goes down. I don't think it will, however. Zealots block the ramp, so kind of a cool move.
It's going to be so difficult to, like, actually throw this game at this point, because Vilehawk has set himself up so nicely with the potential Muta swap behind this. I feel like let's hypothesize for a moment that Joe Obama actually holds the Roach War, right? It's going to cost him most of his ground army, but he'll hold it. Then 8 Mutas come in, and there's just nothing to shoot up. So he's going for double Stargates now. He's trying to prepare for a way to deal with this, but I just feel like the money's not there. The gas especially isn't there. With a Dark Shrine, I mean, he's going to have maybe minerals, but not gas. There's no way he's going to have the gas to support this tech.
His gas mining is consistent, just making sure he wasn't missing a probe or two. Oh, once
Oh,
again, almost
Crucibles.
predicting the retreat. Very nice. But
Balbutus.
he is starting to bank a little bit. I think he feels very comfortable against the Roach Router composition, so he shouldn't be, adding on more morals or anything like that. And there are the Phoenixes. The Warprism's still alive, can buy more time, whether that's with DTs or just plain Zealots. Either one will be very important. And the Mutas aren't going to straight up kill Jobama, but any Protoss has a lot of difficulty dealing with Mutas. Especially if Vilehawk is going to transition back out of Mutas. Transitions are very hard to keep up with as a Protoss player. Warprism goes down.
And the attack looking like it's so ready to commence. I mean, there's a Guardian Shield in this, but there's really not force fields.
Yeah, and there it is popped. The Blink Stalker is going to need a better position here to really be the best they can be. Dark Templars being warped in. There are no Overseers, so this could get a lot of free damage, but there are those Mutas going in here. I know there's a couple Phoenixes around. There they
The
are.
two Phoenix aren't going to cut it. I mean, they might chip away at the Mutas, sure, but any micro spent dealing with the Mutas means that this army here in the front's going to push through. The Roaches break through that gateway. Force fields be damned. The Immortal gets surrounded. The Lings are taking care of that pretty quickly. Crucibles segment off the rest of the army. Could have broken the force fields with Crucibles, but I don't know. Doesn't really matter. 133 army supplies can be tough to overcome.
DTs.
We got DTs, but I don't know that that's going to even be enough.
The
I mean,
bank
it's
of
one DT,
Vilehawk, man. Yeah, that second DT finally gets in on the action, but that bank of Vilehawk is extreme. He could transition to anything he wants or just continue remaxing on what he has already. We do have a DT on each base. The natural, okay, not the main, the natural and the third doing some pretty hefty drone damage, bringing him back down to 35.
You bring up that bank, right? And like right now, losing the drones just makes it more opportunity to make a bigger army.
Oh, finally.
Okay, he definitely needs detection, but I mean, like, he's going to replace these drones. Okay, sure. He's actually getting devastated in workers, if we're going to be completely honest. But in losing so many, it's been given him more supply to make an army with 154 army supply for our pink Zerg. I mean, before it looked a little face roll, he pulled back because of the DTs. He wasn't sure how this would go. Okay, fine. Assess risk valuation. But right now, it's kind of getting near A-move status.
Yeah, it is. Down 70 supply. Obama will have to have some very good blinks. I mean, I'd say force fields, but there isn't any available. Just going to use that for Guardian Shield. And, I mean, maybe, like, he could target down the Overseers and try and do something there. I mean, this 50, 60 supply difference in army isn't really what it sounds like, because a Protoss army is used to being down 30, maybe even 40. But 60 is where it starts to get a little difficult. Phoenix control has to be pretty spot on. The Stalker control has to be spot on. There's not enough Immortals to make it really, really scary too. Usually at 12, 13 minutes, a Protoss could have even 6 or 8. I have some faith, especially because the Overseers aren't here again. Oh my god, where are they? Oh, there's one. And there's the other 3. There we go. Oh, he F2'd. Oh, he F2'd.
Well, the Mutas kill all of the probes in the gold at that third. The army pushing in that front, and well, that's game.
Yeah, that definitely is. I mean, he's definitely not going to win a fight. All choked up in the natural. He'll be able to survive for some time in the natural, but not going to be winning this game. Very awkward starts, but Vilehawk had the better late game, mid-late game for sure, and Jabama just couldn't keep up. And that's going to be the first game. Or second game, sorry. Oh, I haven't updated the score.
Yeah.
That is completely my bad.
Yeah, this is game number 2. We're going to be going to the 2v2 next, which is going to be kind of awesome to see. Again, shouts to Joe Obama. He's actually putting up a pretty good fight, but he just doesn't have the numbers. There's just no way this would work for him. GG is Vilehawk will take the game.
So Vilehawk's team was the one that was already winning, by the way. Again, my bad about the score. So he was up 1-0, and now that team is up 2-0, Arlington, because of the upset between Zero and Jon Snow.
Yeah, that is certainly an upset, to say the least. I mean, like that. It's insane to me that Jon Snow lost that, but it's like the way he did, right? Like the pulling the queens, going that dedicated for the all-in. So many things just made me like, ugh.
Yeah. I once again am having trouble finding Seething Jungle, but now I have recently played. I've never played these maps. Who has this recently played?
I don't know.
Is this Battle.net as entirely recently played? What the fuck? Oh, I guess we did play in a couple of 4v4s. Okay, I can't blame Battle.net entirely for that one. But I do have Seething Jungle in my recently played. Woohoo! Oh, no, it is a 2v2. Let's have it. It's going to be Imp King and Stokogu, remember that name, for UTA, versus Sherlock and Puffin for RPI. Looks like UTA is already ready. Thank you.
Let me join off that lobby.
Sherlock and Puffin. Sherlock and Puffin. I see neither one here. I guess Jon Snow is the coordinator right now. He's gonna go look for them.
Just helping out. It's being a bro.
Yeah. Okay. There at least one of them is on. Put on some music. Oh, that's loud.
Well, maybe it'll take a minute or two. We'll find out soon-ish.
So what did you do today, Rifkin?
I streamed a lot of ladder.
How long were you streaming? I didn't keep count.
Like 3 or 4 hours, I think, something like that. Yo, look at... Hey, while we're waiting, go look at my match history right now. Tell me how sweet that looks. That was all on stream, too.
Hold on. Oh wait, wrong one. Career summary. Match history, there it is. That does look pretty fancy. You should check out mine.
It's gonna have like 2 games, won't it? Actually,
I
you
don't
don't even play.
know.
You don't even play on this account, do you? Like, what would your match
No.
history even look like?
Yeah,
Yeah, 4v4 is 2
we
days ago. Nailed it. Nailed
All the
it so hard,
customs that are
Tommy
done.
Grub.
There's so many observers. I didn't realize they put that in a match history. I guess I've never really cared to look. Observer, 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 observer.
So, I'm gonna take some time to advertise this, since we just put it up on YouTube. I played a really epic game earlier today, and what I really hated about it was, like, it was a good game, like, and I would love to gloat about that, right? But Twitch chat made me cast it afterwards, and it's so weird casting your own game. Like, I just want to throw it out there. Like, it's actually like uncomfortable trying to talk about yourself, especially when you know everything that happened. You're like, I wonder what Terran's gonna do next.
Remember when we cast that game where I did a comeback in our 2v2?
Right. Actually, yeah.
So I know that it's super weird. What happened? Why was it so good?
Because I went down to 1 worker and came back in 1.
Oh, is that versus the GM?
That was versus the Masters Protoss.
Oh, okay.
The GM one, he just like tried to Bane bust me. It was weird. He went like 700 Banelings.
Oh.
Apparently, by the way, I don't know if this is true. I should probably check and see. That Buster guy from earlier was in chat claiming that it was him I played against, and I'm curious if that was the case or not.
Huh.
But welcome back to the CSL, guys. Now my favorite part, so I'm going to quickly start this off by reminding everybody this is the 2v2 portion of the best of 7. There's an Archon mode match that follows it up, but this guy in the bottom left, I got to give him some shout-outs before we even get into it. He's got bubbles on his clan decal saying, what's that, greasy?
Wait, where are you?
Zoom on the next.
Oh, Bubbles is the person.
Yeah.
My bad.
I don't know, Ricky. Anyways, terrible impressions aside, spawning the bottom left side on Clan Greasy, it's going to be the combination of Imp King, the big Protoss, and his ally, the Teal Zerg Stokogu, who actually I remember us casting last time we saw him.
Yeah. Remember that name? They are up 2-0 for UTA. In the top right, as the purple Zerg, it is Sherlock, and as the red Terran, it's Puffin. So they have quite a lot to do here, but...
Can they solve this problem of being behind?
Well, maybe. I don't know. This is very interesting from M King. So he's partially walling off, which is not something we've seen attempted before on this map. So he would be kind of safe, although he does have back rocks. But his opponent would be left out in the dark, so it would have an unbro move. But it's also a cannon rush, more importantly. And it's actually stuck behind two pylons, so that cannon's definitely going to get up. That's a clever position right there. Only one probe. That's a little bit dangerous. It is almost dead. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Okay, yes. That cannon's not going to go down anytime soon. Yeah, and the lane just, like, run past it. What a game. Okay. Well, Sherlock's gonna Bane bust, just straight up. Well, I guess Reaper will try and help out. Puffin does have another barracks coming down here, but the wall off could be real. It's missing this side.
Opposed to what, fake?
Well, bad, basically.
It's like made a force field.
Isn't that what people usually use real for? Yeah, not bad.
I mean, this is kind of cute because it does create a semi-faux wall off, but...
The Reaper, though.
The Reaper could just go to the Protoss base and go ham, yeah. But the unfortunate thing is, like, I mean, there are cannons getting into the Terran base. Now, unfortunately, like, this is awkward because you can't cannon rush a Terran or a Zerg necessarily. You can't get the cannons close enough on creep, and the Terran can always lift off and fly away. But this is something that's not being reacted to appropriately, and despite this Reaper harass, I think Red's ready to lose more at home. 0 probes so far, by the way, so some nice control from our pink Protoss. Sokoku should be... Yeah, there's the Lings to help out. I know he's been attacked on the front lines, but sparing even just a couple to distract the Reaper would have been really nice. Sherlock does have Banelings, so he'll be winning the Ling War. Oh, especially if that was going to happen. But not for very long. Like, there isn't a lot of reinforcements here. This might already be game. Like, there's so much chaos, but the chaos seems to be going in favor of UTA. Stokagu on 2 base, not exactly on a great drone count, but definitely has the larva going for him and is getting his own Baneling Nest finally. The cannon rush continues and the cannon defense continues. So does a probe Ross, though. Now this Reaper's starting to get those kills. There we go. 7 is much better than the 0 initially, but then it gets surrounded and killed. Once again, nicely done to the micro from Imp King when he pays attention. And the command center is sliding away. Bye-bye. Yeah, I mean, it's necessary.
Wow. Wow. Wait, okay, there you go. So say, kill the hatch or do something, Lings.
Well, this takes Terran out of the game for now. It's not to say that they're out of the game, period, but they are out of the game for now. All these Banelings looking for some sweet hits on those Lings, and even if they don't get sweet hits, they just need half-decent hits. Command center, move! You're in the way! We're trying to watch the fight! SCV's getting exploded on it! Oh my god, the collapse! Oh my god, the collapse! One more Baneling comes in, and oh my god. I do believe we're about to see a 3-0. Yes, we are!
That was one of the most entertaining 2v2s.
See, this is what I'm saying. I get so hyped for the 2v2. It's not even fake hype. I fucking love CSL 2v2s. They're fun. They're different, and they're ridiculous, frankly.
That was nice. That's a really, really nice game, but also a really nice lead for Arlington. 3-0 going into the Archon match, and a lot of 1v1s to fall back on, too. Next up, we will have Hawk. We saw him and Sokugu, so repeat customers here, versus Jobama and Jon Snow. That's very interesting. They're using Jon Snow twice, which means he couldn't come out for the ace.
Well, I mean, at this rate, would you want him to? I'm just saying.
Wow.
I mean, jokes aside and shots fired, like, Jon Snow might actually be under time constraints. Would make a lot of sense why they'd want to bring him out here. But at the same time, Archon mode, we discussed this before. You take one really good player, you tell the other person, sit down, don't do anything, just let me handle everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I'm making jokes because he's bad, but really, like, this could actually be because he's so good, he can carry the weight of 2 of them.
All right. Well, we already have quite a few people that aren't eligible for the ace match, but with the momentum here, it might not get anywhere close to it. All right.
That would be interesting.
Okay. So, Jobama, Hawk, Stoku.
So some questions being asked in chat while Zombie sets this up. What rank are a lot of these guys? And frankly, it varies. We've got some players who are grandmasters, like Jon Snow, who lose to people who are masters. 0. Some of these guys are Diamond League, some are even lower. Some people are here just simply to fill in because they need a roster of a certain amount of people to be able to play. you're not going to see the craziest, oh my god, high quality games on the CSL, but the amateur aspect of it actually does make it a little bit fun because sometimes it's boring. Let's be honest, some of these games drag on, you're like, what's going on? Why hasn't he left yet? Okay, fine. I get it. Once in a while we get those games. But for the most part, the way to look at it is like a lot of these games are on equal skill levels. They just are not quite the high tier Korean slash WCS players that I think a lot of us are used to watching. For me, I roll my eyes a little bit when it comes to talking about these players, but it is actually like that amateur aspect is quite appealing, and you get to see mistakes made, and a lot of mistakes made make for very fun games, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah. We already saw a mixture in these two best of sevens, starting off the day with that long, drawn out, the game was definitely over, mech game, but then the funness of that 2v2, and a couple of close 1v1s as well. Okay, yeah, Valhalla does join. So we got everyone in the lobby. It's going to be on Central Protocol once again. The maps change week to week.
This is actually interesting. So ZVZ, this this actually gets really interesting because we've talked about this many times with pros, like actual pros who play the game like 24/7, aren't in school, stuff like that. And they've said like Archon mode ZVZ, there's not really a lot to do for the other person. With the way larva injects go and spawns and just larva in general, like it's actually kind of hard to use or fully utilize, excuse me, Archon mode.
Yeah, we quickly learned that Zerg, just in general, is probably the most difficult for Archon, but especially in this matchup. So I'm guessing it's going to be Jon Snow versus. Well, I'm actually not sure about these players, but they might show us. They might even tell us if they start yelling at each other. In the top right has the Pink Zerg. It is a combination of Vilehawk and Stokogu, and their team is up 3-0.
Right, and on their last life, if they lose this, it's all over tonight. In the top left, the combination of Jon Snow and Jobama. So Jon's Joba.
Jon's Joba versus Vilestock. It's like almost like Vile Stork, which is like another bird. Oh!
Calm down.
No, never.
Actually, with the consideration that the first four letters are get split in an Archon mode name, I bet you could probably make some seemingly innocent names become hilarious in Archon mode. Like, you could have one player name be like, Gape something, so that like it shows Gape, and the second person's name could be Horn.
Yes.
You would have like the Archon Gape.
Yes.
Horn.
That was already a player name that we had to cast, if you recall.
Right, I know, but I'm just saying like it fits perfectly
It
for
does.
that combination of things.
I think that we've certainly had people ask to be formed in a certain order in Archon match. If you're leader, you get skins.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Depending on who comes in first, gets the name on the title first. So some people are pretty picky about that, but no lewd names quite yet. Some hilarious ones, like the Verger. Who was that?
That was Journey and somebody.
Yeah. No.
Reality.
Yes.
Realtor. Yeah.
Verger.
Reality and Journey became the Verger. Anyway, ZVZ certainly makes up for that interesting dynamic. Jon Snow may have flopped earlier, and that was really, let's be honest, that was a once-in-a-lifetime game. We'll give him heck for it for a while, but Jon Snow probably won't make similar mistakes again. And I'm not saying Jobama can't contribute, but if we're assuming for a moment that it is the two better players on each team that are taking the steering wheel and just kind of, navigatoring their ally, their partner, then it's probably going to be Jon Snow the one taking that wheel. And he does a lot better in ZVZ than he does in ZVP and ZVT. This has been actually consistent since HOTS. So I'm feeling a lot better for his team to not go down 4-0. Like, I'm actually, I will say they'll probably come back in this Archon mode match.
Yeah, and hopefully that will start the momentum train back for the reverse kill here. But that's a lot to ask for. Now, they did start off with much faster speed. Theirs is almost done, while Valhawk and Sokogu haven't bothered with it much at all, in fact. So they should be adding on... Wait, they didn't? No, they didn't go for speed. And I'm just confirming, because it looks really odd. They stopped mining gas, but they have 36. They bothered to get gas, but haven't actually used it. It's a little odd. I don't think they're quite sure what they want to do either. Because I was going to say, the Roach gasless expand is certainly viable, which I guess they still are going to do. No, that could have been a Roach Warren. Why isn't that Roach Warren? Questionable things all around. I don't know, man. But Jon Snow and Jabama, I mean, they're gonna have a wall to break through, I suppose. But they also don't have to. They could just make the lings and then see that's their opponents are being very, very cautious and macro.
Ooh. That bailing hit was pretty sweet. Of course, speed versus not speed. Easy to get around.
What is happening with our pink Zerg? I mean, this could just be straight up like they thought one thing, they thought they realized another, and that happened like 1 or 2 times. That certainly happened. It could also be Archon mode. Like, if one person's saying, oh, they're gonna ult me. Oh, wait, never mind. And the macro player is trying to keep up with someone who's giving them bad information. Like, that could explain a lot of this stuff. But this has just been an odd game. That's not a wall.
No, as these units do carry through to the main, they get to that mineral line.
It's not a committal, though. Like, I think they were definitely expecting roaches to be popping out on the other side, so why bother committing with a bunch of banelings and lings? But it's not. It's still there's still no roach born. It's 3 evo. Just you know.
Take a deep breath, zombie. Take a deep breath.
I really wish they would choose something. Okay, so like even if they never get a roachborn, if they could just at least get speed on their lings, I'd be kind of happy. This is
I could die happy.
This is starting to get like this is tilting me, and I don't want to be like, oh my god, these are the worst players ever, but I feel like this has to be the cause of Archon mode. Like they're fighting over who's macro, they're fighting over what the decision is, they're getting wrong information. Everything is going wrong.
We do often emphasize the pros of Archon mode, but there are a lot of drawbacks, and if you don't have good team synergy, I mean, I remember a game we cast early on in Archon mode, it was like Guru and Tefel playing together, and they had actually paused the game because they were fighting with each other. Like, they actually had to straight up pause the game to discuss who was doing what, because there's too much fighting going on.
Yeah. They might have been planning on going for a very, very, very greedy, quick Spire build, in which case not getting the speed early and then having this wall would have been, you know, 2 thumbs up. But it was also the fact that they stopped mining gas for so long that it's now pushed back, that it's no longer a very good build, you know, this quick Spire. As the roaches are already on their way out, they're going to have speed, they're going to have +1, well, probably not +1, but... regardless, some serious pushing power, and I don't think a Spire would be done by then. If it is a Spire. Come on.
Come on. Coochie.
Okay, so things are making a little more sense, I guess, in terms of what they were going for, and I guess things just got messed up with scouting. But it is a situation where they definitely read a situation, not exactly wrong, but definitely overcommitted to the defense. That's one of the downsides of ZVZ, is that you think, you know, your opponent's all linning, and maybe they are doing a lot of units, but then behind that they just drone while you're not, and they actually surpass you anyway. That's why I certainly don't like the matchup. But the Spire is only halfway done, and the roach attack is commenced. It will have the +1, in fact, so these are just super.
I mean, look at the army
roaches.
supply. I can't even get my hand around anything else other than the army supply right now. 74 versus 20. Like, I'm sorry, but even if you get the mutas, you're not going to clean up that much army supply in time.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm just like, I hate to be that guy, but I'm like, this is over. This is already so far beyond over.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was kind of funny. Like 4 minutes ago, the supplies weren't that bad. They were like 60 to 60 or something like that. But it was just this. It was bound to look like what it does now. Just a severe increase for Jon Snow and Jobama, and the Pink Zerg falling way, way behind. And that's what happens. The Spine Crawlers, you know, there's certainly a lot of them. Maybe they could have scared a less experienced player than Jon Snow, but he just pushes right past them. 12 meters is a really nice number, but not to come back in this game. GG.
GG. So, it is going to be 1 point on the board, and this team will not fall here in the Archon mode match. But we do go back to 1v1s, and an interesting point made by some of the CSL players currently tuning in and watching, saying, like, you can no longer have, like, that one player who carried you through most of the season to the playoffs carry you much further, and that is kind of what's going to happen here. Jon Snow, probably the best player on the team, now no longer eligible to play any of the other matches tonight. But you kind of had to play Jon Snow there, because if you didn't, then maybe you lose 0-4, then you don't get a chance to play Jon Snow anyways. So, I mean, they're really pulling out all the stops to keep going.
Mm-hmm. The next match is going to be Stranded versus Fort SC. And then the match after that is Squirtle versus Izzy Joey? But spelled
I don't
really
know,
weird.
is he?
And I do remember Squirtle being a fairly good Protoss. So still lost chances for Arlington to close it out. And a long road ahead for RPI.
So Sunbrief, I got a calorie question for you.
Uh-huh.
I'm actually doing pretty good today because I slept so late. I'm only at like 1,300 for today. Do I order a pizza for dinner or try and eat something healthy?
What's your TDE?
TDE?
TDEE.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
Total daily expenditure something. That's
I
close.
don't know. Google told me I'm supposed to eat like 2,000 or less to lose weight.
Yeah, that one. 2,000. God damn. Yeah, you could eat
Just
you could
saying.
eat almost 3 slices of pizza and you'd still be okay.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Which is not a whole pizza, mind you.
No, but then I've got some for tomorrow.
Okay, just making sure. Be like, well, if they split it 3 ways, it's 3 slices.
Well, then, like, what if I got a small pizza, actually? Because, like, that's different than getting a large
it's only
pizza,
like
right?
50 calories less per slice. It's not as much as you would have hoped.
I don't know, man.
What if I get a Lido's pizza and then it's with small squares? Those are still 100 calories each.
Well, I mean, like, if I get meat lovers, that's more meat, so more protein, right? And that's good.
Also more calories. Don't talk about it. Oh my god, there's like a gif of like some old sitcom where it's... Oh, it was The Nanny. Did you ever watch The Nanny? It had
Fran
the woman
Drescher.
with like the voice. But where she was like... I'm trying to lose weight, so this is like my second slice of pizza. And someone was like, isn't that your third? And she was like, your brain can't tell. Just lie to it.
Well, I mean, if that was true, that'd be awesome. I'd lie the shit out of this. But, okay, so ranks being brought into consideration here. We do have a Diamond League Terran versus a Masters League Terran. We could see a stark difference in the way this goes.
Potentially. On the top right, as the Orange Masters Terran, it is Stranded, playing for UTA and up 2 games.
Yeah, so I mean, it is currently 3-1 in the overall score. If if this guy in the top left, excuse me, loses it, then their team will be done for the night and out of the CSL entirely. As in the top left, we got the Yellow Terran Fort SC.
So a lot of hopes riding on this guy. I don't know if those diamond master portraits really meant anything. You know, like I know everyone makes fun of like high diamond, low masters thing, but that's a serious consideration, especially when masters is a little wonky right now. Is Stranded just super low in the Masters League? Is Fort super high? Is just a case of either one of them not playing enough? We don't know enough for sure, but I do want to bring up, last week we saw a definitely, like, we knew one player was definitely very good, the other player was not as good, right? It was a TVP on Arena, and the Terran, who was the less skilled player, almost won that damn game because of some really good harassment and Widowmine drops. So even if this was literally, like, good Masters versus not as good Diamond, I still would bring it to the aggressiveness of TVT to actually get him a win and continue on this momentum for his team, which needs this win.
So, TVT, you and I have been talking about this a lot lately. Like, is it easier in Legacy of the Void? Did you have trouble in HOTS, mech, not mech, blah, blah, blah. But I will say, like, for me personally, this matchup has just been fun. Like, even when I'm getting on tilt fighting against things like Reapers and people being mass Reapers and jerks with them, I've actually really enjoyed this matchup, especially in Legacy.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what type of players these guys are. Is someone crazy enough to do mech? Are we going to see, like, just macro play versus macro play? We'll find out shortly, but there's just a lot of ways that I like TVT, and I find it fun because even if you're behind, you can make comebacks more easily, I think, in this matchup than other matchups.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. But I'm just noting, I'm looking at Fort's build here, and it's not one that I'm familiar with. So he opened up like you would with a Reaper expand, but instead got a reactor first and held off on his command center for a little bit. which is why Stranded is a little bit faster. But then additionally on top of that, he was denied so long by a single SCV because he had to wait for the reactor and then the Marines. And now it's even off position because of that damn SCV too. So not a great start. I mean, something that would be unimportant later on if they were truly equally skilled, but I don't know if they are.
I say it being off position is really not that big of a deal. It's
It
certainly
being
an annoyance.
off by one grid is not a big deal. It being late by about half a command center is... No, a full command center, sorry. That's Stranded 3rd CC. Holy snaps.
Well, that's a way to play if you're not super stoked with the way the opener went.
Yeah. So Stranded himself might have looked at those ranks, you know, and been like, oh, this is going to be easy. Or maybe they played before, I don't know. But he also might have been looking at how much damage his SEV did in denying that command center and thought, like, okay, yeah, this guy, like I'm going to win. So that's why he feels very comfortable being really greedy. Could just be the way he plays TBT, too. But it would just be, like, the one weakness would be if there was, like, a drop coming in, if there was, like, a tank push coming in, then going for a 3rd CC would have been a bit of a problem, but there is nothing aggressive here. Fort SC could maybe push with the Marines and surprise Stranded, but nothing much else to talk about. A single tank here, no Banshee, no Liberator. It's just him defending this natural base against a single Reaper.
Bit of a pause requested. Hopefully nothing too bad going on.
It's just
Is there like server problems? I mean, this is on the East Coast currently.
I don't know.
We actually have we covered that with CSL? Is there any particular server preference?
No, I don't believe we ever talked about it. I would imagine it would be middle. It's also, no one's ever brought it up, which is not as surprising. Of course, CSL being mostly amateurs, a couple of people that are used to tournaments like Jon Snow, but mostly not. Don't even know about the option, or are too shy to ask about the option, or are not concerned with the option, so... Hopefully it does disappear, as he said. It might have just been a spike. If it doesn't, this is one of those times where I really don't mind remaking. There's a couple other issues, I guess, with, like, subbing.
We'll leave it. We'll leave it as is. He's not asking for anything. He's just hoping it goes away. We'll see how it plays out. The nice thing going for Stranded right now is he's up considerable amount of workers. You brought this up earlier, like, will this make a difference or not? And this isn't because anything's been killed. This is fast command center time. He's a better macro.
Stranded should be, like, really skyrocketing ahead with this, not just, better macro, but the greedier build in about a minute. This tank drop is going to try and say something about that skyrocket, though. If it can get on top of the production, if it can get on top of the SCVs, it can really cut into Stranded's, so far, untouched system here. His production, his SimCity, his build-up. But it's drop versus drop, and things could get really interesting. This one just goes straight across. He knows he has his El Naga, so he can do this safely. These Vikings... Oh, no. Are they really going to catch this? No, I guess they're going with the drop. That was so close, though. Oh. Ooh. Okay. I think Stranded's a little too far gone to pull back now. Just go for the drop in the main base.
Fort gets in here and chases off those SCVs. A little bit scary. And you're right, he's kind of just got to go for it on the other side of the map. Now, he might try to turn this into a bit of a base trade because the problem is his production got compromised through this. That one tank sets up, but these Marines could actually just be picked up and dropped directly on top of it without Marine support. Instead, backing away, just taking some shots. Vikings are going to come in, though, to make sure that doesn't happen. Counterattack on the other side. I love 2 tanks. I love 8 Marines. It's my favorite version of this drop, but it came so late. So Stranded is in a bit of trouble at home. But it looks like it's starting to stabilize. The Vikings did pick off one of the medevacs, and that spooked Fort from advancing forward. Stranded, meantime, is in a pretty darn good spot himself. We do have a tank drop coming back home to try and hold this, but it's 2 tanks versus 1. Excuse me, 2 tanks versus 2 now.
Oh, the Marines are just rallied in as well. That was so bad. And the cleanup on the other side. It's still a little messy, but it's happening. He's lost so many
The
production
Vikings.
facilities. Why did he do that?
Yeah, but he's up so many workers. Like I don't know. This is so questionable the way this stabilizes or not. Marines dropped on top of the tank, so it did take out one of the tanks of Fort. Uh-oh, this one spawns into the tank fire, gets obliterated, and I think Stranded is looking to perhaps lock it down here. It's taking him a longer time to kill the production facilities, but he's camping at production. He's got 3 CCs up at home. Any of the buildings he lost, he's got the money to replace.
Yep.
GG!
GG, that's it. 4-1 for Arlington. Congratulations to them. Moving on to the round of 4.
Congratulations, Arlington. See you guys in the semifinals.
Yep. And that will be it for us tonight. We'll be back Thursday to cast, I believe, another 2 best of 7s, the rest of the round of 8s, and then on to the semis. Should be pretty exciting. And after that, the grand finals will be at DreamHack Austin the weekend of the 9th. Not sure which day. Of course, we'll get more information about that. If you're more interested in general in CSL, you can go to cstarleague.com. Looks like, yeah, they got rid of all the links on the overlay. But it's C-Star League everything, you know, just you can Google it. I know that our admin's been in chat linking as well. You look at more, you can look at the brackets, you can look at signing up your team for next year, you know, what have you. But that's it for us tonight. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Twitter at CG Gaming and Rifkin.
Follow me on Twitter, Riff_Kings, but we'll see you guys on Thursday.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye-bye.